Today I am going to talk about a spiritual technique called devata yoga. The devata yoga was perfected by the Indians and also taken by the Buddhist and especially by the Tibetan Buddhist in a major manner. In fact, if you see, Muhammad was against idol worship, and also the Christianity has Jesus Christ as the ideal. So the point is, why devata yoga is given to you. Now, why do they think about so explicitly the devata yoga was promoted by the great Indian rishis? First of all, when you do devata yoga, we have a big course on that. We have a course which is more than 30 hours. Many of my students have the siddhi. You give them the mantra. As soon as you give them the mantra, they will write down the consequences of the mantra, what will happen, and then they will give it to you. If you chant and go through the experiences, you will understand that whatever they have said is right. That is the power of the class what we take. I teach my students to read the mantra and tell the impact of the mantra without chanting. For example, many people you ask what is the impact of the mantra, they'll say chant 1 lakh time, 1 crore time. There is no need. And also the mantra, we would use it as an app. For example, we can, the Tantra talks about the 6 techniques, which is the Shat Karma, the Vasya, Mogana, Akarshna, Stambhana, Uchadana. We can do it for any devata. Some of my best students will be able to write mantras very fast and give it to you for any devata. Of course, they will use the Gayatri as the mantra. We call it as the app. Now, once you go through the class, you will understand. But the basic premise of the mantra is very, very important. At the time of the death, the biggest thing is the mind, and the greatest thing you can hold on to is to a mantra. When the body is cracking, when the astral body is getting shattered, and when the astral and the physical body are being torn apart, at that point of time you need a mantra to hold on. And the second thing, in the bardo, when you are attacked by beings or when you see a lot of beings, you find it very, very difficult and you get really frightened. And the third one is, your astral body will take the shape of the devata. So you will have lot of powers of this devata in the astral. For example, if you do Hanuman sadhana, you will have the powers of Hanuman if you identify yourself with the devata a lot. And the Tibetan Buddhism talks about the Dharmakaya, Sambhohakaya and the Nirmanakaya. They say devatas don't have Nirmanakaya, which means they don't have a causal body. So in fact, you will be able to dissolve a lot of lineage and prarabdha karma when you identify yourself with the devata. In the physical world, you will be able to master a lot of things which normal people find it very difficult. For example, you are going to chant Mahalakshmi Ashtakam, you would be able to understand about money a lot more because the mantra happens and it connects with the vortex and the vortex opens up and it connects with your antakarna and the energy starts flowing down. Now when you do the Mahalakshmi prayer, it is actually the astral golden energy which will come in. That's why it's called Hiranya Varanam Harini. The reason why the Sri Suktam starts with such a powerful words, they have kept it with a logic across the person. So the point is, the mantra can be dead or alive. If the mantra is alive, the vortex will open up, the energy will pour down very, very fast. If the mantra is dead, it is like, sticking on the matchstick, it does not work out. I have seen some of the biggest ladies, small ladies, ordinary people do mantra sadhana amazingly. They would beat many saints in their run. And this is a very, very important thing. If you are having boys, that is, if your children are boys, don't do the sadhana of women. Invariably, you will have problem. For example, many women who come to me and say, my husband has not done well, I tell them, you would have done Lalita sadhana or you would have done the sadhana of Bhadrakali or Durga. They will say, yes, men doing Durga sadhana will become very feminine and they will have Linga Bali. And women doing male sadhana will have the Yoni Bali. So you need to be very, very careful about it. Mantra sadhana can have a tremendous impact. It can change the way a destiny can operate, and also the Devata Yoga, the impact can be produced very, very fast. Now the point is the visualization of the deity has to happen. Like for example, in a chakra you keep Hanuman, the amplification of that energy will be very huge than simply chanting or seeing the color. And this is a very, very powerful methodology to use, keeping the devatas on the chakras. And of course the Nevedya is the important impact. When you want to bring down the devata, the Nevedya is very important. Either you distribute the Nevata or you tend to eat the Nevedya. It has a lot of impact. That's why Nath Parampara, they drink alcohol. They think they are Shiva, and that is how they drink the thing. They expect the energy of the black vortex to come up. All mantra sadhana you can divide into black and white vortex. The black vortex are the Ugra Devata, which talks about the lower worlds and connection with the lower chakras. The upper world and the upper chakras are represented by the white vortex, and especially the sattvic forms. And many people try to get into the Ugra form. They have a lot of divorce, they have a lot of problem. There was a lady whose father-in-law used to do Bhadrakali sadhana, and invariably there used to be a Sishu Bali which used to happen. Remember, Kali is the representation, feminine representation of the black vortex. Now Mahalakshmi is the feminine representation of the white vortex. So you need to be very, very clear what vortex you are doing it. Unless you learn to look every mantra as a vortex and you have to open it. Now there are people who talk about Diksha and Parampara and all that thing. You can actually overcome it with a lot of hard work. And also when you do mantra sadhana, you have to keep on sitting down, and it's like a practice. It's like riyas. You go on doing, you will see the impact which will be happening on the outside. And it is like music or martial arts. You keep on doing the mantra, you will have a lot of impact which will be happening across. Of course, one need to understand what one wants and accordingly work with the mantra. The mantra has to slowly dissolve into the arupa. But that, which means you'll have to practice the mantra in the sleep, you'll have to practice the mantra as you go in the sleep and into the astral travel. That is, you take a mala and you lie down and you do the japa. As your finger goes down, you should be awakened and do it across. Now you can't have a deep sleep and all, because the astral body will be coming out of the physical body, and you will have a lot of things across. And incidentally, we did the mantra for COVID. Somebody come and ask me, how did you do it? The vortex of the COVID was slammed. The epicenter of the COVID was slammed with the mantras. So the death vortex on the India did not open up so much. We kept on doing the mantra. Of course, many people will not believe it, but that's okay. It does not. We are not doing it for the sake of the others. We want to see whether the sadhana is for us. It is like a cook. He cooks for his satisfaction. You can stop a rain, you can stop an earthquake by using the devata at various levels. And the Bible talks about it. It talks about first there was Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word became God. It's actually true. Yat devata tad bhava. What you worship is what you will become. The picture will tell you what you are going to become. The dhyana slokam will tell you what you are going to become. You apply the dhyana sloka and you stick on to it, surely you will realize that is what you became ultimately. Now many people will talk about Shiv sadhana. Shiv sadhana normally opens a dark vortex. Now unless you have an enemy, do not do Shiv sadhana. Many people do Rudram Chamakam, and invariably they will lose their wife and they will live alone and they'll be angry about everything. And when they finish, they get very, very angry about everything. They finish as a problem. Now, the problem with the Hindu community, the Brahmins, is we have so many mantras they do not know. I would always advise use Gayatri. It's the safest multi-dimensional mantra. It is one app which you can use it for any devata in the world, and it is a wonderful sadhana to do. Also, when you do the mantra, do with the sankalpa, do with the nyasa. It has far more impact, and don't do it selfishly. Do not do it for yourself. Do for your family. do for the lineage, do for the Vamsa, Gotra, Kula, Varna, Jati. For example, if you pray for Indian prosperity, your life will become easily prosperous. Because God does not love selfishness, He loves selflessness. Dviti yadvai bhayam bhayati. Now many people talk about seeing the devata and all the thing. Ultimately you have to come to the point that it is just a projection of the mind. Na guru, na sishya, chittani rupam, Vishnu oham, Vishnu oham. Na devata, na mantra, na chaitanya, Vishnu oham, Vishnu oham. No chandas, no mantra. So when you come to that point, you realize you are everything. And what happens through you is more sacred. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.